typical scene at a cattle farm. Did you know that at one time, cattle and pigs disappeared from their pens in Miyazaki? In April 2010, there was an outbreak of foot and mouth disease in Miyazaki Prefecture. The spread of the disease had a massive impact, not only on the livestock industry, but also on the economy and the lives of people in the prefecture. Time has passed. Memories of that terrible incident have begun to disappear. Miyazaki now looks like it has regained its normal life. But the battle against FMD still remains. FMD is an infectious disease spread among cloven-hoofed animals such as cows, pigs, goats, sheep, and wild boar. When infected, the animal displays symptoms of erosion and blister on or in its mouth, tongue, nose, hooves, and mucous membranes. Symptoms also include copious amounts of saliva and fever. FMD, unlike other animal diseases, is designated as a communicable disease, which is highly contagious and is difficult to prevent or contain. Miyazaki is an agricultural prefecture. In particular, its livestock industry has one of the highest production volumes in Japan and plays an important role in the nation's supply of food. But in Miyazaki Prefecture, an incident of the type most feared by Japan's livestock industry occurred. On April 20th, 2010, an FMD outbreak was confirmed in cattle on a farm in a mountainous area of Tsuno town.
家畜伝染病である口蹄疫の疑似患畜が県内で確認されました。
The prefecture immediately created an FMD emergency response headquarters. It took initial biosecurity measures, including designation of movement restriction areas and disinfection points on the roads. There are large concentrations of cattle and pig farms in the Saito and Koyu areas of Miyazaki Prefecture, and FMD was confirmed in the neighboring town of Kawaminami the very next day. The infection then spread to Ebino City, an area far away from the epicenter of the outbreak. On April 28th, the infection to a pig was confirmed at the Prefectural Livestock Experimental Station Kawaminami branch, becoming the first ever case in pigs in Japan. Subsequently, cattle and pigs were infected one after another, eventually covering the whole Koyu district. In fact, Miyazaki had previously had an FMD outbreak in the year 2000. Fortunately, only 3 cases were reported at that time. This time, however, the infection spread explosively, despite exhaustive efforts for containment. Desperate prevention work could not keep up with the rapid spread of the disease. The prefecture asked the Japanese Self-Defense Forces for a disaster relief mission on May 1st. The Japanese central government placed a local emergency response headquarters within the prefectural office on May 17th. On May 18th, the prefecture declared a state of emergency for FMD. People were asked to stay indoors as much as possible. Animal farmers, public employees, and also the citizens of the prefecture participated in the all-out battle against FMD. The prefecture took various protective measures from the time of the first outbreak. At one point, the number of the disinfection points for vehicles grew to over 400 locations. Depending on the circumstances, various other disinfection methods were implemented. In affected areas, the movement of people and goods were restricted in order to stop the disease from spreading. Veterinarians and other workers were mobilized from across Japan to eradicate the disease. While wearing protective clothing, they thoroughly disinfected farms that had been affected by the outbreak. But despite the best efforts at disease control, the spread of the infection could not be stopped. Therefore, the government headquarters decided to vaccinate the animals for the first time in Japan. On May 22nd, Miyazaki Prefecture, after obtaining the consent of the municipalities, started a vaccination program for all animals kept within a 10-kilometer radius of all outbreak areas, consisting of 3 cities and 5 towns. The slaughtered livestock were buried in 4-meter-deep pits, dug in advance. Lime powder was carefully spread over them, and the pits were covered with soil, and finally, the sites were marked with warning signs about the disease which lay buried below. FMD continued to occur in many more places, including Myakumo-jo, Hyuga, and Kunitomi even into June. But an occurrence in Miyazaki City on July 4th became the last case, and no further infections were detected. The declaration of an FMD state of emergency, which lasted for almost 70 days, was lifted on July 27th. Thereafter, cleanliness confirmation tests and livestock manure safety tests were conducted at all cattle and pig farms. And finally, on August 27th, the prefecture declared the end of the FMD incident, the elimination of the disease from Miyazaki Prefecture.
口蹄疫ウイルスを撲滅するための措置を完了いたしました。ここに今回の本件における口蹄疫は収束したことを宣言いたします。
From the first confirmation of the outbreak on April 20th, extending more than 4 months, the total number of animals slaughtered rose to 297,808. As many as 160,000 people from inside and outside the prefecture engaged in the work. Additionally, many volunteers helped out. During the state of emergency declaration period, many events and programs were forced to be suspended or postponed. The number of visitors sharply declined. The economy and people's lives in Miyazaki were greatly affected. The total damage inflicted on Miyazaki's economy, including the livestock and commerce and other industries, is said to have reached about 235 billion yen. On the other hand, more than 3.5 billion yen were received in donations, and many messages of support came from all over Japan, giving Miyazaki the energy to step forward. Immediately after the outset of the infection in April 2010, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries formed an epidemiological study team to collect and analyze information about the outbreak. The prefecture fully cooperated in the study. The study tried to determine the source and infection routes of the FMD virus by checking the movements of humans, animals, and imported feed. Unfortunately, the source of the original infection has never been identified. Miyazaki was hit hard by the outbreak of FMD, but we have to get back up on our own feet. The key word, Gambaro, Miyazaki, which means go for it, Miyazaki, in English. The prefecture adopted 3 goals for recovery and reconstruction: to achieve immediate recovery of Miyazaki's economy and people's lives, to immediately restructure livestock farming so that it could be a national model, and to make structural changes in the livestock industry and production areas. In order to attain these goals, a roadmap for the assured recovery and reconstruction was made. Shortly after the FMD subsided, the prefecture began developing various types of businesses to regain and further stimulate the economy covering the whole prefecture, centered on the Saito and Koyu areas. Even now, together with the municipal governments and organizations concerned, we receive subsidies from the Miyazaki Prefecture FMD Recovery Fund and the FMD Recovery Foundation's Fund Program to reinvigorate the affected areas, to bring back tourists, to support commerce and industry, and to strengthen sanitary measures for animals. Farmers themselves have started to take new steps toward the resumption of their businesses. Before resuming the raising of animals, a decoy cow was brought into each cattle or pig pen to test its safety. Though some farmers still hesitate to resume raising animals, farmers have started to reopen the road to the future, step by step. Now new calves and piglets are being born, bringing smiles back to farmers' faces. Remembering FMD, I will take appropriate preventative measures and work hard for Miyazaki's stock farming. We need both field farming and animal raising to keep our land and community prosperous. The prefecture understands that it needs to provide long-term support to the farmers. Within the prefecture, all kinds of events to support the livestock industry comeback are being held in various regions. People and animals disappeared in Kawaminami town. On September 26th, for the first time in 6 months, a very well-known event called Toron Toron Open Air Market took place, followed by a fireworks show in the evening. The fireworks, wishing for the town's earliest recovery and remembering the victims, were launched with hopes and memories of the people. The Miyazaki livestock industry has started showing signs of recovery. It has been critical to establish a disease control system in which FMD could never spread. Thus, Miyazaki's livestock industry could be a national model. Prefecture has made recommendations for future disease control measures, as well as improvement and strengthening of its crisis management based on the verification of results conducted by the FMD Countermeasures Screening Committee. Livestock farmers say, we must protect our own farms ourselves, and they will conduct further stringent preventative measures in their businesses. They not only engage in daily disinfection work on their farms, clothes, and work shoes, but also are requested to perform even more thorough disinfection work and to raise awareness of the disease on the 20th of each month, a prefecture-wide all-around disinfection day. New standards of rearing hygiene management have been compiled. They regulate the necessity of daily health checks of animals and keeping burial land secure. Farmers abiding by the guidelines will promote and facilitate the rebirth of raising livestock in Miyazaki. The prefecture has also improved a system for animal health inspectors so that farmers can engage in their businesses free from anxiety. The inspectors regularly visit all farmers, providing them with guidance and advice on matters such as how to effectively prevent animal disease and how to keep burial land secure. Furthermore, study sessions targeting farmers are held in each area. Farmers learn accurate and correct information about FMD outbreaks occurring both in and outside of Japan. It is important for farmers to develop a mindset towards protecting their own farms by themselves. There are things we can all do for the recovery and reconstruction processes in Miyazaki. In order to prevent the FMD virus from being brought into Miyazaki, we can cooperate with the border infection controls at the airport, ports, hotels, and golf courses. These facilities have placed disinfection mats to sanitize the soles of your shoes. In this manner, residents of the prefecture can act together in order to not repeat the tragedy of FMD. Outbreaks of FMD are still seen in many countries and regions around the world. The incidents of outbreak are especially high in Asia, and in this internationalized world, it is no wonder that the FMD virus can penetrate Miyazaki at any time. We stand side by side in fighting the dangers of FMD. That's why we all should share awareness of the danger. FMD in Miyazaki, we shall never forget. And we shall never allow the same tragedy to be repeated. On April 20th, 2010, Miyazaki had an unprecedented epidemic spread of FMD. About 300,000 valuable animal lives were the victims. We managed to contain the disease on August 27th. Livestock farmers, citizens, and many supporters from outside of Miyazaki worked with dedication, enabling us to contain the virus within the prefecture. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. To revitalize the economy in the prefecture, the establishment of disease prevention controls and recovery of the livestock industry are indispensable. Let us put our utmost efforts into this work, and let us move forward, step by step.
This is Gigi, please. This is
はい、どう
Gigi.
もお疲れ様でした。ちょっと質問があればここで少しお受けして、隣の方に移りたいと思い
Okay,
ます。
thank you very much for sharing the images. If you have any questions,
Thank
please very happy to accept the questions. And after that, we will go.
I have a question.
はい、質問があります。
Okay.
Did you allow the vaccinated